Good day. Hello, CJ, CW, and William. How are you? I'm running a little bit late today. Got in very late from Connecticut. We went to see my daughter and her family and did it down and back, and that's 2.5 hours each way. And went to sleep about 1 a.m. So, and got up about 6 and dallied and dillied till we got here, and then realized I didn't even have prepared. But I am now, so thanks be to Deum. All right, so we're going to continue with the Masonic symbols and the handshakes and what's going on with the hands today. It's mixed as to whether to do the lesson before or after. I am going to do the lesson after today again for a little bit longer. We'll see how it goes. Doesn't seem to be a problem with anyone much either way. Pardon me, a little thirsty. All right, so let's get started with Good Day Rising prayers and then Mass. In nomine Deum, Matronam Nostrae, Deum Iesum Christum, et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Let us place ourselves in the presence of the Most Holy Trinity, and in Catholic contemplation humbly venerate the Divine Family. And today is May 8th, 2025, Thursday. Most Holy and Venerable Trinity, one Divine Family, I believe that Thou art here present. I venerate Thee with the deepest humility. I render to Thee with my whole heart the homage which is due to Thee. O Most Holy Trinity, relying on Thine infinite goodness and promises, I hope to obtain pardon of my sins, the help of Thy grace, and life everlasting, through the merits of Deum Iesum Christum et Deum Matronam Nostrae. O Most Holy Trinity, I love Thee above all things with my whole heart and soul, because Thou art all good and worthy of all love. I love my neighbor as myself for love of Thee, and I forgive all who have injured me, and ask pardon of all whom I have injured. Let us thank the Most Holy Trinity for the many graces that we receive, and offer ourselves and our sufferings up to heaven, and for the souls in purgatory. O Most Holy Trinity, I most humbly thank Thee for all the favors Thou hast bestowed upon me to the present moment. It is again thanks to Thy bounty that I should live to see this day, and I desire to employ it solely in Thy service. I consecrate to Thee all my thoughts, words, actions, and sufferings of this day. Sanctify them, that there may be none that is not animated by Thy love, or that would not tend to Thy greater glory. Let us make a firm resolution to avoid evil and to do good, and let us beg of the Most Holy Trinity the graces which are necessary to us. O Most Holy Trinity, Thou knowest my weakness, and that I am unable to do anything good without the help of Thy grace. Deny me not Thy grace, proportionate to my necessities. Give me strength to avoid everything which Thou forbiddest, to practice the good which Thou hast commanded, and enable me patiently to bear all the trials which it may please Thee to send me. O Dea Matronam Nostrae, Mother of God, I place myself under Thy protection. I throw myself with confidence into the arms of Thy compassion. Be to me, O Mother of Mercy, my refuge in distress, my consolation in suffering, now and at the hour of my death. O Most Holy Trinity, as envisioned by St. Lucia as the Most Holy Trinitarian Theophany, Deam Matronam Nostrae, et Deum Iesum Christum, et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, I am heartily sorry for having offended Thee, and I detest all my sins, because I dread the loss of heaven and the pains of hell, but most of all because I offended Thee, my God, who art good and deserving of all my love. I firmly resolve, with the help of Thy grace, to confess my sins, to do penance, and to amend my life. Deum vobiscum, et quoque apotei, oremus. O most holy Trinity, Creator and Redeemer of all the faithful, grant to the souls of thy servants and handmaids the remission of all their sins, that they may obtain by loving prayers the forgiveness which they have always desired, who livest and reignest with thee, one divine family, forever and ever. Suscipe. Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, hoc immaculatum hostium, quam ego indenius famulos tuus offenditibi Deum meum vivum et verum, pro in nomine vidibus peccatis et offensionibus et negligentis meis, et pro omnibus circumstantibus sed pro omnibus fidelibus catholicorum vivis aquae defunctis ut mihi edidis proficiat salutem. Deum qui humanae substantiae dignitatem mirabilitur contradis et mirabilis reformatio de nobis, periuris atque tu in mysterium, eius divinitatis et secans fortis qui militatis nostrae, fieri dignatis es patriceps, Deum Iesum Christum Filium, qui tegum vivit et regnat in unitate Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Offerimus tibi Deum calicem salutaris tuum deprecantis clementium, ut conspectu divinae, majestatis tuae, pro nostra totius mundus salute cum adoris suavitatis ascendat. In spiritu humilitatis et in animo contrito, suscipiam rate Deum Iesum Christum, et sec fiat sacrificium nostrum et expetu tuo hodie, ut placiat tibi Deum matronam nostrae Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Veni Sanctificator, Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, et sanctificit oblata prosequendo, et accepere hoc sacrificium tuo sanctum nomini praeparatum. Suscipe Sancta Trinitas, hoc oblationem quam tibi efferimus a memoriam passionis, resurrectionis et discensionis Deum Iesum Christum, et in honorem Deum matronam nostra, et a Papa Peter Sanctorum, et istorum et omnium Sanctorum, ut illis proficiat ad honorem nobis autem ad salutem, et illi pro nobis intercedere dignenter in caelis, quorum memoriam agimus in tedis perium Christum Deum nostrum. Orate, ut meum equestrum sacrificium acceptabile fiat ab Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Suscipia Deum Iesum Christum, sacrificium de manibus tuis, et laudam et gloriam nomini sui, ad utilitatem quoque nostram totiusque ecclesiae suae sanctae. Deum ubiscum, et quoque apotei, sursum corda habemus ad Deum, gratias agamus Deum nostrum, dignum et justum est. Te igitor clementes me mater et pater et Deum mater nostrae, et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum per Deum Iesum Christum Filium tuum Deum nostrae, supplices rogamus et petimus, ut ia capta habeas et sanctificas haec sanctam sacrificium irribata, in primis quae tibi afferimus pro ecclesiam tuam sanctam catholicam, quam pacificare, custodire, adornare et regere dineris toto obiterarum atque catholicae. Memento Deum famulorum cetuorum. We pray for the sick and the suffering. We especially pray for Katie, Gage, RM, Neil and Earl Lively, Johann Sandman, Maria Josephina Mose, Letitia Mindy Claret, Mark Jr., Barbara and Benedict Santa Croce, Robert Dasco Sr. and Jr., and Rochelle Dasco, Luis Antonio Cantu, Mr. Nobody, the Cantu and Duarte families, Michaela McLaren and family, Sarah and Becky, Janelina, Lori, Aaron and family, Maria and the Lineweber family, the Kendrick, Shorten, Dasco, Nye, Tafour, Began, Wolf, and Kane families, and their intentions. We pray that Mr. Nobody receives the funding and strength needed to complete the first Sedevacantis Catholic Council office in Monastery, Illinois. We pray for an end to all governmental allowance or sanctioning of abortion, transgenderism, transhumanism, child trafficking, child abuse of any kind, anywhere, place, or time. We pray for the establishment of a Catholic monarchy with a sound Catholic system of labor, human value, and medium of exchange, with no usury. We pray for courageous men to step forward as leaders of this Catholic society. We ask them to step forward without any fear. We ask, Dea Matronam Nostra et Eum Iesum Christum et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, with our rosaries and this Mass, please force the world to make the Jews the sole focus of their anger, and please free us Catholics from all financial enslavement to these Jews. Please leave the Jews in Israel unprotected by any government or governmental entities. Thank you for answering our prayers. We ask for a return to godly femininity. Reject the worldly idea of feminist ideology, that women cease working for Freemasons and corporations, and that they come to understand that raising traditional Catholic families is the highest ideal. We ask that all pornography, the OnlyFans platform, and all quote-unquote gay marriage be banned. We ask for the conversion of all sinners trapped in a state of mortal sin. We pray for the elimination of all harmful radiation waves in our air and in our homes. And we pray for wisdom on how to raise healthy animals and healthy foods, and to ban all chemical companies from owning food supply companies. We also ask you to remove all wording with regards to anti-Semitism from all laws, codes, procedures, etc., until we bring in the Catholic monarchy. We ask you to destroy the satanic document of Vatican law that is the Jewish Talmud, that you destroy Rome and the Vatican, and recognize the transfer of the authority of the Catholic Church to be in Portugal. And we ask you to release the souls controlled by the demon Lilith and the demon Asmodeus, and send those demons back to the pits of hell. We ask you to continue to, the truth being put out there with regards to disease, that we understand the natural benefits of healing naturally, and that you destroy all forms of Freemasonry and bring back strong Catholic family virtues and ideals. All this we ask in accordance with the Most Holy Trinity's divine will and intention. Et omnium circumstantiam quorum tibi fides cognita est, et noto devotio pro quibus tibi afferimus, vel qui tibi afferent hoc sacrificium laudis processuisque omnibus, pro redemptione anomanum suanum prospe salutis et regulamitatis suae, tibi credunt vota sua aeterno Deum vivo et vero, communicantes et momum honorantes in primis gloriosae, semper Dei matronam nostrae, et Deum Iesum Christum, et beatorum martyrium tuorum Papa Sancte Petri, et Sancti Luci, et Sancti Jacinta, et Sancti Francisco, et Sancti Juan Diego, et omnem sanctorum tuorum quorum meritis praecibusque concedas ut in omnibus protectiones tuae muniam exilio pediendum Christum Deum nostrum, quam oblationem et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum in omnibus consecratum ac tabernacla fecere dineris ut nobis corpum, et sanguinem fiat edictissimi filium tuum Deum Iesum Christum, qui pridi e quam pateretur recepit panem sanctus ac honorabilis manus suas, et derivatis oculis in calamate Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, suum omnipotentem tibi gratias agens, consecravit, frege dedique alumni, sui dicens accipite et maldicate ex hoc omnes. Hoc est enim corpus meum. Simili modo postquam ceremonia est ecipienser hunc preclarum calicem in sanctus aquarabilis manus suas item tibi gratias agens Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Consecravit, dedique lumnis sui dicens accipite et vivite ex eo omnes. Hic est enim calic sanguinis mei, mystidium fidei, quae pro nobis et pro multis effundetur in remissione peccatorum. Haequid est cum vificeritis in meum monum facietis. Unde et memores Deum nos servituis et plebs tua sancta justum Christum filium tuum Deum nostrae, tam beate passiones, nec non et in fedis resurrectionis, sed et in caelos gloriosa ascensionis offerimus, praeclarae majestati tuae de tuis donis ac datis, supra quae propitio ac sereno utur espicieri digneris, in supplices te ragamus Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, iube hic fide manus tuum, ut quod ex hoc altaris participationis sacrosanctum Deum Filium tuum, corpus et sanguinum sum senimus, omni sanctificatione caelesia gratia Dei per amor per Deum Christum Deum nostrae. We pray for those who have died, and we especially pray for Lester Dawson, for whom this Mass is being offered. Ipsis Deum et omnibum in Christum quiscentibum locum reficere iducis et pacis ut adorge est prac amor per Deum Christum Deum nostrum, per quum hic omnia Deum Iesum Christum semper bona creas, sanctificas, vivicas, consecratis et praestas nobis. Per ipsum et cum ipso et in ipso, est tibi Deum Matrum omnipotentium in unitate Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, omnis honor et gloria. Ave Dea Matronum Nostrae gratia plena Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum tecum, sanctam tuum in mulieribus, Dea Matronum Nostrae Matram Deum Iesum Christum, ora pro nobis peccatoribus nunc et in hora mortis nostrae. Libera nos quaesimus Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, ab omnibus malis, praeteritis, praesentibus et futuris, et intercedente beata et gloriosa semper Deum Matronum Nostrae, cum Papa Petrum Sanctorum, et omnibus sanctis, da propitios pacem in diebus nostris, ut ope misericordiae tuae, aduiti et peccato simus semper, liberi et ab omni perturbationis securi. Per indum Deum nostrum Iesum Christum Filium tuum Deum nostrum, qui tecum vivit et regnat in unitate Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, per aeternam. Pax Deum Iesum Christum sed semper vobiscum et quoque apote, haecum ex Deo consecratio corporis et sanguinis, Deum Iesum Christum, fiat excipientibus nobis in ad salutem aeternam. Pax tecum et quoque apote, Deum Iesum Christum, qui ex voluntate Deum Matronum Nostrae, quoprante Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, per mortem tuam mundum vivificasti, libera me per hoc sacrosanctum, corpus et sanguinum tuum ab omnibus iniquitatibus meis et dolorosis malis, et fac me tui semper in hadere mandatis, et nunquam separare per metas, qui cum eo dem Deum Matronum Nostrae et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum vivis et reinam aeternam. perceptio corporis tui Deum Iesum Christum, quod ego indinius sumere praesumur, non mihi provini ad inidicium et condemnationem, sed pro tua pietate prosit mihi ad tutamentum mentis et corporis, et ad medelam percipiendam, qui vivis et reinas cum Deum matronam nostra in unitate Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Panem calecem et in nome Deum Iesum Christum invocabo. Dea matronam nostrum non sunt dignius, ut et subtetum meis in tacte corpus naparanum mea. Deum Iesum Christum non sunt dignius, ut et subtetum meis in tacte corpus naparanum mea. Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum non sunt dignius, ut et subtetum meis in tacte corpus naparanum mea. Corpus Deum nostrum Iesum Christum custodiet anima mea. Quid retribum Deum Iesum Christum promnibus quaere turbut mihi, calicem, salutaris accipiem et nome Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum invocabo, laudans invocabo Deum matronam nostrae, et ab inimicis mei salvusero. Sanguis Deum nostrum Iesum Christum custodiet anima mea. Quodore, subsimus Deum Iesum Christum pidem et capiam et mundi et temperat fiat nobis remedium sempiternum. Corpus tuum Deum Iesum Christum, quod sum se sanguis quam potari et heriat, scelibus meis apresta, ut in me non remaniat scelera macula quem purat sancta reficerum sacramenta. Deum vobiscum, et quoque pote, oremus. May the prayer of thy suppliants profit the souls of thy servants and handmaids, we beseech you, most holy Trinity, that thou mayest free them from all sins, and make them sharers in thy redemption, who livest and reignest with thee, one divine family, forever and ever. Deum vobiscum, et quoque pote, ite mises, Deum gratia. Placiat tibi sancta Trinitam obsequium servitutis meae, et praesta ut sacrificium coroculis tuae maestatis in illo solto di tibi seta captabile meque et omnibus, pro quibus irut octolis et miserante pubecavere pecus in Deum nostrum. Sanctifica os omnipotens Deum, Matronam et Filium et Spiritum Sanctum, Deum Matronam nostrae, et Deum Iesum Christum, et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, gratias. O most holy Trinity, I believe, I venerate, I hope, and I love thee. I beg of thee pardon for those who do not believe, do not venerate, do not hope, and do not love thee. O most holy Trinity, Deum Matronam nostrae, et Deum Iesum Christum, et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, I venerate thee profoundly, and I offer to thee the most precious body, blood, soul, and divinity of Deum Iesum Christum, present here in reparation for the outrages, sacrileges, and indifference by which he himself is offended. And through the infinite merits of his most sacred heart and immaculate heart of Deum Matronam Nostrae, God our Lady, who was, is, and ever shall be, I beg of thee the conversion of poor sinners. In nomine Deum Matronam Nostrae, et Deum Iesum Christum, et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Gracias. All right, so once you wake up to the truth that America has always been run by Freemasonry, you might find yourself reevaluating what you were taught in your public school history classes. That's for sure. Then after realizing that America's political class have always been in the tank for Lucifer, you might start looking internationally. What about those quote-unquote evil Russians we were made to be paranoid about in the Cold War? Quote, the mark on the right hand, unquote, Freemason Bohemian Grove ritual attendee and 40th U.S. Masonic president shakes hands with Freemason premier of the Soviet Union, Mikhail Gorbachev, to end the quote-unquote Cold War. Not only was this East versus West battle staged to mask what was really going on in the spiritual world, the Jewish cleansing of the world from their enemy-initiated Catholics, it was staged in such a way that the Jewish anti-Pope John Paul II was somehow responsible for defeating Jewish communism. With 2020 hindsight, we can see that Gorbachev, Reagan, and John Paul II were all Jewish Masonic initiates, keeping the world occupied and quote-unquote on watch with a perceived enemy. The reality is they are the enemy, setting up the New World Order under their control. Jews invented communism, and America unknowingly serves Jewish communists as they go to work every day for the Jewish bankster cartel. Quote, the Jewish Post International Edition, week ending January 24th, 1991, confirms Vladimir Lenin was Jewish. He was a crypto-Jew and was born Vladimir Ilyich Ulyanov. Lenin is on record as having stated, quote, the establishment of a central bank is 90% of communizing a nation, unquote. The Synagogue of Satan, page 87. Quote, in the September 10th edition of the American Hebrew, it is stated, quote, the Bolshevist revolution in Russia was the work of Jewish brains, of Jewish dissatisfaction, of Jewish planning, whose goal is to create a new order in the world. What was performed in so excellent a way in Russia, thanks to Jewish brains, and because of Jewish dissatisfaction, and by Jewish planning, shall also, through the same Jewish mental and physical forces, become a reality all over the world, unquote, Synagogue of Satan, page 90 to 91. Quote, Joseph Stalin, a Georgian, becomes premier of the Soviet Union, Joseph Stalin's real name is Jugashvili, which translates from Georgian as son of a Jew. In the Georgian language, Shvili means son of, and Juga means Jew. Stalin also has 3 wives in his lifetime: Ekaterina Svanidze, Kadya Alevija, and Rosa Kaganovich, all of them Jewesses. Interestingly, Stalin passes a law during his premiership that resulted in anyone found guilty of anti-Semitism be sentenced to death, unquote. Synagogue of Satan, page 98 to 99. And you have to wonder, who is pressing recently all this language in law for similar, not quite death yet, but it's getting close. All right, Trumpelstiltskin. Members of the first communist government of Moscow, 1918. There's a picture here. The Council of People's Commissars. 1, Ilich Ulin, a.k.a. Vladimir Ilich Ulyanov, or Nikolaus Lenin, president of the Supreme Soviet, Jew on mother's side. His mother was called Blank, a Jewess of German origin. Pictured is Lou Davinovich Bronstein, or a.k.a. Leo Trotsky, Commissar for the Red Army and the Navy, Jew. Iosif David Vissarionovich Jugashvili Kochba, that is Joseph Vissarionovich Stalin. Nationalities: Commissar. Descendant of Jews from Georgia. Chikarin, Commissar for Foreign Affairs, Russian. Apfelbaum, Grigory Zinoviev, Commissar for Internal Affairs, Jew. Cohen, Volodarsky, Commissar for Press and Propaganda, Jew. Number 7, Samuel Kaufman, Commissar for the Landed Property of the State, Jew. Number 8, Steinberg, Law Commissar, Jew. Schmidt, Commissar for Public Works, Jew. 10, Ethel Knigkissen, Liliana, Commissar for Supply, Jewess. 11, Fenigstein, Commissar for the Settlement of Refugees, a Jew. And Schlichter Vostanolionin, I know I butchered that one, Commissar for Billetings. And billetings is the confiscation of private houses for the Reds, also a Jew. 13, Laurie or Larin, President of the Supreme Economic Council, Jew. Kukarsky, Trade Commissar, Jew. Spitzberg, Culture Commissar, Jew. Uriski, Radomilsky, Commissar for Elections, Jew. 17, Lunakarsky, Commissar for Public Schools, Russian. Simasko, Commissar for Health, Jew. Pratzian, Agricultural Commissar, Armenian. And that list was from the Plot Against the Church, written by Pinet in 1962. Secular affairs were always steered by the Brotherhood of Freemasonry for public consumption, and public enemies were given to both sides of the Goyim, who have absolutely no idea how deep the rabbit hole goes. And there's more pictures. There's lots of pictures on this page. I recommend you check them out. Pictured are Jewish Freemason and Soviet Union Premier Joseph Stalin, Jewish Freemason 38th President, U.S. President Gerald Ford, Jewish Freemason and first U.S. President George Washington in his Baphomet pose, and Jewish Freemason Napoleon Bonaparte. And the reason why we say Jewish Freemason, whether or not they had any direct lineage to Judaism, once you become a Freemason, okay, you get the title Jewish Freemason. Quote, "It is not my intention to doubt that the doctrine of the Illuminati and the principles of Jacobinism had not spread in the United States. On the contrary, no one is more satisfied of this fact than I am," unquote. George Washington. So for those Christians who bought the lie in school about how their founding fathers were so good, they were Luciferians. This won't sit well with many proud Americans who cannot grasp the reality of what they were deceived into sending their sons to die for. But luckily, this Illuminati Jew and Bohemian Grover, Henry Kissinger, reminds them in his own special way. Quote, "Military men are dumb, stupid animals to be used as pawns for foreign policy," unquote. Jewish elder and Bohemian Grove attendee, former U.S. Secretary of State Henry Kissinger, quoted by Bob Woodward in The Final Days, 1976. Again, he was Jewish. And when you have that type of thinking running your government and controlling laws and whatnot, you're bound to have what everybody's complaining about. They just don't know where it's coming from, why it's coming from there. You know, they're told that it's this and they're told that it's that, and they use controlled opposition, and we basically are the only ones out there telling the truth of where it's coming from, why it's coming from, why it's going there, and what is the solution, which is Catholicism, original Catholicism with a Catholic monarchy. All right. Thank you for listening today. We're going to be, the plan is to relocate the chapel here into a bigger room. And yesterday, before going to see my daughter, we stopped because we found a Facebook marketplace carpet that we're going to lay down. That was fun, trying to get a 12-foot carpet into a car. But it was very it's very nice. It's brand new, so it was like there was one little corner cut off of it, so it was, you know, he couldn't use it or sell it as full price. Anyway, we're you know, I have tabernacles and I have things, and we're, you know, there's actually people who will be able to come and actually sit. So we're looking for, you know, donations for like a pew with a kneeler or something like that. We see them available here and there. And I thank you for that. We're going to continue on and make it easier for the sacraments to be had for everyone, for those who can venture here. Still looking for those foreigners to make the trip across the pond. But you're not foreigners to us. Okay, that's one thing that you wonder where that all came from. We're all together. If we're Catholic, we're one. We're people. Please go and sanctify all those you meet. We'll see you tomorrow, Friday, and we'll do Fasting Friday again. All right. Very, very good for your health. Oh, I wanted to thank the Kane family and Matthew in particular for sending me the email with regards to food and how important food is. That's why I mentioned in the intentions today about why we shouldn't have chemical companies owning food companies, because they're trying to figure out, the chemical companies are trying to figure out with their waste products how they can move it into their food companies to make more money and at the same time poison us. And that's the story was how there were multiple families who had autistic children, and they reversed their autism by eliminating all GMO foods, all toxic, basically removing toxic foods that they were allergic to and causing this giant, basically attack of inflammation inside the body. So thank you for that. I'm working my way through it. It's very, very interesting. We have known from a long time ago how important it was to remove gluten from the diet. We weren't exactly sure why, and it's really not so much the gluten, but rather the glyphosate that is put on a lot of the wheat just prior to harvesting to dry it out, and that glyphosate is extremely toxic for the human being. All right, thank you again for everything that you're doing, and I will read the comments later. I must get going. Please go and sanctify all those you meet and have a great day.